Ubisoft isn't known for making bangers as of late, but I'm really enjoying their latest game, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. If you haven't heard about this game, where the hell have you been? This game has everything from a deep combat system to a beautiful world with diverse areas and level design to a story that actually kept my attention. Yeah, I know, me of all people. While this game certainly isn't perfect and there are a few things I'm not the biggest fan of, it's still a great metroidvania and an example of a AAA studio messing around with the genre of a game most would consider less than. It's a great start to 2024, and the best part, it's like made for the Nintendo Switch. Hello world and all who inhabit it, it is I, the Great Saiyaran, and yes, I know the Switch 2 is coming, but I don't want to skip over how great our current Switch is. This is my favorite console, possibly of all time, and usually when games are multiplat, I try to grab them on the Switch. Unless it has any online capability, then I get it on PS5, and you know why. The Nintendo Switch is portable, so it's less powerful than the now generation ahead PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. There are a few games that don't come to the Switch in its last few days, but Ubisoft is loyal and not only decided to bring Prince of Persia to the Switch, they actually made it with the Switch in mind first. Developers usually have a primary platform in mind when making a game, and then every other platform fits within that spec. That's why games may have 60 FPS performance modes on PS5 and Xbox Series, but barely hit 30 FPS on Switch. For instance, this game hits 60 FPS on Switch and 120 on current gen consoles. This game is a 2D metroidvania, so it's not that demanding, and actually Ubisoft admitted that this game took inspiration from Metroid Dread, one of my personal favorite games on the Nintendo Switch. I was pretty sure I was gonna like it, but after playing this game non-stop for the past 4 days, I'm in love. Ubisoft was kind enough to provide me a review copy for this game, so shout out to them for helping make this video possible. Before we get into the review, I do want to say that this is my first Prince of Persia, but apparently they're not all 2D metroidvanias, but they are all pretty good. I play a lot of indie games and many of them take to this genre like Ori or Hollow Knight. They're really fun and challenging and you can get a lot of replay value out of them. Ubisoft went this route with The Lost Crown and I think it's because of two reasons. One, budget. Game development is expensive and the budgets are just getting higher and higher to meet gamer expectations, but honestly that's just blame shifting. Some of the most well-received games of last year were indie titles or games that had crap graphics but had amazing gameplay. Two, creativity. There's only so much you can do with the 2D world, but it's that restriction that breeds creativity. Ubisoft is known for their great world design and size, and we even see that here in The Lost Crown. This game didn't need those things to be good though. They didn't have to push these consoles to their limits graphically just for a few nerds with FPS counters to get excited to create a great game. And let me explain further just how great this game is. One of the coolest parts about this game, and probably the one you'll hear the most, is the combat, but there are other action-packed aspects of this game I really love. But we will start with the combat. This game is absolutely insane. From the first moment you start playing, you can just feel the combo potential, but as the game opens up and you get skill after skill after skill, it becomes apparent. There's even a place to try all your new skills as soon as you get them with different challenges, and even a free training place to make up your own combos like Gamebreaker God has. I played around with these combos to fit my personal style and it's all there, and with amulets, it goes even further. You can equip different amulets that have different effects on your gameplay, like one of my favorites that turn all my arrows into flaming arrows and apply flame damage over time. This combat is very smooth and responsive. Oftentimes games have pretty combat, but in action it's not the most fluid. In The Lost Crown, it's both. Between flashy parry cutscenes and boss battles and literally juggling enemies in midair with the original combos, this game is basically Metroid Dread but with melee. Someone actually said that on Twitter and I actually left work early to go play it because I couldn't believe what I was reading. Back to the smoothness of combat. This game feels like they were trying to get Sargon, the main character, into Smash Ultimate. His animations are smooth and it feels like I'm playing a competitive fighting game with frame data, dash cancels, and the like. It's really smooth and I cannot stress that enough. The ultimates are also cool and customizable. You can actually unlock a good chunk of them by fighting these alternate reality versions of yourself, and the more powerful or valuable the ultimate, the harder the doppelganger. These boss fights are unique because they have all your powers, your weapons, and your combos. They will juggle you if you're not careful, and I actually spent about 4 tries on one of the later ones because his ultimate was just so powerful. You fill your gauge by attacking and really fill your gauge by parrying, but lose gauge by getting hit. It's basic, but it doesn't need to be complicated. Parrying feels nice. At first it felt a bit delayed, but honestly they were just giving me a window. The parrying window is when you hit a button plus a few frames after, but it's also cool because a missed time parry will cost you a lot of damage no matter the enemy. That's how I usually die. I want to play more of this game in a boss rush mode because the combat feels that good. On top of the combat, you can use these skills for traversal as well. We'll talk about it later, but this map is huge, and with all the options they give you to take shortcuts, dash, and damn near teleport across it, it's not bad at all. It feels like they had to make the world bigger so that we could truly enjoy the mechanics. Running through big open areas, you get this sense of speed and adventure, and running into enemies, you can even do this cool little running kick and send them flying. It's hilarious. The combat combat and action are just a piece of what makes this game good. What I was really blown away by was the world itself. Usually metroidvanias have these barren worlds to coincide with the theme or story of the game. They usually aren't as colorful or filled with NPCs as Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and they're definitely not usually voice acted. NPCs range from a little girl that helps you map where you've been and where you're going, to a creepy old man who's met every version of you this world and its alternate realities have spit out. They give you amulets, side quests, and sometimes a funny anecdotal story, and sometimes a sad one. They're about as animated as your combat and as unique too. The NPCs add to the overall environment, which is diverse with enemies, layout, and interactivity. Metroidvanias are known for their backtracking and multiple ways to enter and re-enter sections, but The Lost Crown makes this 1,000 times easier with memory shards, as well as marking on your map when you can't progress any further in red, and bringing back those areas to your attention in green when you can progress there again. I'm not used to these quality of life features in these games, but they're welcome and they don't take away from the experience at all. The mythology involved actually makes me want a God of War game in the same format. Seeing all the unique creatures and the statues of gods and other powerful beasts invoke that same emotion I got from playing God of War as a kid. The world also has hella puzzles, like to the point where I have to just put my brain on autopilot and let my fingers work. The best part about the Switch is you can take it anywhere, so you can spend time here and there overcoming tough puzzles on your lunch break or while visiting family. I can't lie, I've been stumped, and I love how the game doesn't tell you a solution. It's just up to you and your time manipulation powers. Fast travel is also in this world, and with a map as huge as this, you're going to want it. There are two ways to explore this world. You have dedicated points of interest that are marked on your map even if you don't know exactly how to get there, or you can have no direction and just go crazy. You can also switch between the two in game at any point in time. I 100% went with a guided approach, but that's definitely up to you. The experience is wholly the same. I have said it a million times, but I'm not a huge story person. I like story, but I want it to be told to me either in a super entertaining way or through gameplay itself. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown does a bit of both. The story is kind of predictable, but it's told in such an entertaining way that kept my attention. I don't want to show too much to avoid spoilers, but you can see how dramatic they've made some of these encounters. It reminds me of that over-the-top shonen style of fighting we see in our favorite anime. Everything is voice acted, and that's a really nice touch. It's always nice to see, especially when games like Pokemon don't have any voice acting in any of their mainline games. Our main character is Sargon, but he's not the Prince of Persia. The actual prince got abducted, and it's up to Sargon and his team to rescue them. Things get wonky from there, but just know it's very entertaining, a bit dramatic, and will keep you wanting to play more. His brooding and anger are interesting since he's not a goofball or loser who had to earn his spot. He's someone with a chip on his shoulder, but he's got the moves to do what needs to be done. He's a very interesting warrior, and I love how his perspectives change as he confronts things from his past and as he meets new people along his journey. Story isn't a con of this game. As for performance, I mentioned before that this was made with the Switch in mind first, and honestly, it's a great experience. Whether in handheld or dock, you're getting a great experience targeting 60 FPS with a few dips here and there. Remember, I played a 1.0 version of this game, so even without any day one patches, this game is ready for everyone. I really want more games that launch and play this well to come to Switch. The Switch gets so much flack for being a handheld device. I mean, even now there's a debate on Twitter because the Switch 2 is alleged to be as powerful as a base PS4, and people are saying that's not good enough. I mean, people, come on, it's a handheld. They can't be as powerful as a dedicated home console. That's why those have to be plugged in 100% of the time with power cables, have no screen built in, and don't 100% appeal to people like me who aren't always home but do want to game. At the end of the day, buy your games where you want, but for me, I'm going with the Switch. When a game performs this well, looks this good, and is as captivating as Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, I need it on my portable handheld. And needless to say, I 100% recommend this game day one to everyone. Where do you buy your games? Let me know down below. For more reviews like this one, check out my review of Infinity Strash. For some reason, people really hate that game. Also, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.